Beast Quest, Sepron, Chapter 4. Tom looked desperately for his shield. Where had he left it? Then he spotted it at the water's edge where he had put it when he unsaddled Storm. He grabbed it and yelled to the others, "Get away from the fire! I'll make sure it doesn't get to the boat." Eleanor and the others ran to a safe distance and watched as Tom flung his shield up before the fire, standing as close to it as he dared. With the boat not far behind him, hot resin spat angrily as flames licked the shield. The heat from the fire singed the hair on Tom's arms, and he could barely hold the shield in place. "Tom!" Eleanor yelled. "It's not safe! Run!" "No!" Tom shouted. "I'm sure I can hold the fire back." He turned his face away to protect his eyes from the glare of the angry red flames. His tunic was damp with sweat. Gradually, the blast of flame grew weaker. Still holding the shield before him, Tom dragged some of the branches away, and the fire began to die down. Black smoke curled into the air. At last, Tom lowered the shield. "Is anyone hurt?" he asked. Eleanor and Callum shook their heads. The little red-haired girl burst into tears. "I was only trying to help." Her father rushed up and hugged her. "It's all right," he said. "There's no harm done." To Tom, he said quietly, "It's a good thing the ground was wet from the tidal wave, so the fire couldn't completely spread too quickly." Tom looked around. The earth was scorched and steaming. That fire could have spread not only to the boat, but to the cottages, and then... It didn't bear thinking about it. He glanced over to the clump of trees where Storm was standing. Thank goodness the horse had been out of harm's way. Tom examined his shield, and the gleaming reddish-black dragon scale in its scorched surface. Wizard Adiro had been right. Furno's gift really was a protection against fire. Looking up, Tom saw Callum and his father staring thoughtfully at the shield, and then at him. Tom's stomach lurched. What would he say if they asked him about it? "Let's go back to the cottage," Callum said to his sister, patting her on the shoulder. Silver raced back along the shore and threw himself at Eleanor, who put her arms around the wolf's neck and hugged him. "Is he all right?" Tom asked. "Yes, he's fine. He wasn't anywhere near the fire." Scrambling to her feet, Eleanor gestured toward Callum's father, who was examining the repair to the boat. "Let's ask if we can borrow the boat." Tom nodded doubtfully. Would the fisherman be willing to lend them the boat? After all, Tom couldn't tell him the real reason he wanted to borrow it, or how urgent his quest was. But there was no other way to reach Sepron, and Tom had to save the kingdom. He walked up to the man. "Sir," he began politely, "may we borrow the boat?" "We'll take good care of it." The fisherman straightened up. "This is the only boat we have left. Do you think I'm going to give it to you when we need it ourselves?" "We'll leave Silver and Storm here." "With you," said Eleanor, coming to stand beside Tom. "That way you can be sure we'll bring the boat back." The man shook his head. "I'm not calling you thieves, but anything could happen. There could be another wave or a storm, and the sea serpent's still out there. You might drown and we'll never see our boat again." "But," Tom protested, "I'm sorry. The answer is no." He turned and he walked away. Tom stared after him in frustration. Without a boat, how could they get out to sea and free Sepron? Eleanor spoke close to his ear. "If he won't let us have the boat, we'll just have to borrow it, without his blessing." Tom stared at her. "What? We can't do that." "But we'll bring it back, Tom. You know that there will be more tidal waves if we don't free Sepron from Melville's spell, and there'll be no fish in the sea either. These people will starve. We'll be taking the boat for their own good." Tom thought carefully. Should he risk offending Callum's family, or see the whole kingdom of Avantia destroyed by Melville's curse? He knew he didn't have a choice. "We'll take the boat and row out at dawn," he said.